Actually, I'm going to walk you through every box here. I've never done this before. Nobody else has seen this slide before. I hope it works. So, we've got a sponsoring institution that is ACGME accredited or has pre-accreditation status. And there's a program there that wants to apply for ACGME accreditation. Well, the very first question asked then is the program AOA approved as of 1 July 2015? If the answer to that question is yes, then that program is given pre-accreditation status. The next question then is, were residents in that program as of 1 July 2015? And if the answer is yes, then that program would have, upon a review committee accreditation, that program would have relief from those two common program requirements about a single program director who's ABMS certified and all faculty members being ABMS certified. So in other words, that's a program that could have co-program directors and could have AOA certified faculty. If there were no residents in the program, they are subject to all the current program requirements of that specialty. Either way, after the application, the program would be site visited and then would be reviewed by the review committee. So the next question now is, does the review committee find that that program is in substantial compliance with the program requirements? If the answer is yes, the next question is, what then is the status of the sponsoring institution? Is it ACGME accredited? Well, if it is, then that program that has now gone through RRC review and found to be in substantial compliance, that program would have initial accreditation. If the sponsoring institution is still in pre-accreditation status, the program would have pre-accreditation status, initial accreditation contingent. Initial accreditation contingent. Contingent upon the sponsoring institution getting ACGME accreditation. So when the sponsoring institution becomes ACGME accredited, the program would become ACGME accredited, would have initial accreditation as soon as the sponsor did. Now there's one exception to that, and that is that if that sponsoring institution fails after 2 years to get accreditation, that program loses its status of initial accreditation contingent and would go back into the pool of pre-accreditation status. I really don't anticipate that's going to happen very often, if at all, but we just had to build in some contingency for it. Now, what if the program fails to meet substantial compliance standards in the judgment of the RRC? Well, then that program goes back into the pre-accreditation status pool and can go back through the application process as many times as necessary up till 2020 with no additional application fees, I want to add. You've already paid one application fee, and that's good for as many cycles as necessary to get through to accreditation. So those programs would go back into pre-accreditation status and start back through that again. And they could do that until they either chose to withdraw their application or July 1st, 2020, whichever came first. Now let's go back up here and say, what if the AOA program was not, what if the program was not AOA approved as of July 1st, 2015? I know some of you are building programs that may not get through the AOA approval process before July 1st. Well, then those programs would come into the ACGME accreditation process like any other program and would be subject to the very same rules that I showed you earlier regarding any program coming into ACGME accreditation. There would be no relief from common program requirements. There would be no pre-accreditation status, and when the review committee saw that program, they would have only two options: initial accreditation or withhold. So I hope that all makes sense. Nice, simple little diagram there talking about that process. After your program gets initial accreditation, then you are subject to exactly the same possibilities in terms of accreditation that any other ACGME accredited program can achieve. It can go to continued accreditation. It can go to continued accreditation without outcomes, which we talked about before. It can go to initial accreditation with warning, which means you have to be site visited again within 1 year and then presented again to the committee, or it could potentially have withdrawal of accreditation.